Is on that?
Mm-hmm.
This is Real Talk, Change is Coming. We're gonna talk about life. We're gonna have some issues that y'all might like and you might not like. This is everybody's opinion. We're not judging no one. We're just talking about life. And I want everybody to introduce themselves before we go ahead and do this. So start down this end.
I'm Carl.
Tell me what you do.
Oh yeah, well I'm Carl. I do music and I do photography.
CJ.
Yeah, I don't do much.
Yeah. You know, Real Talk Change is coming. This is Curtis.
I'm Elijah. I make music.
I'm Travis, ex-convict, ex-dope boy, current business owner.
That's what's up. And the first question, man, I got on here is like, why Halle Berry had to let a white man pop her to get an Oscar? Why did Denzel have to be a crooked cop before he took it home? Like, why we always had a bad image before we do something we get recognized for? It got to be something bad. When we doing everything positive, nobody really look at us.
You talking about movie wise?
I'm talking about life. I'm just trying to put it all into one now. Like, I'm saying it like, why did Halle Berry, she had to do something out of her ordinary to get that. Denzel had to do something out of ordinary, out of his regular roles that he was playing. And all his movies been bombed, but he never got an Oscar until he did some crooked bit of bad guy. And now I'm saying, like, to put it into life, like, everything we do that is positive, nobody give you the recognition for that doing nothing positive. But if I go out here and do something negative, everybody gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I feel
That's basically what I'm saying.
People notice your flaws before your achievement.
Yeah, facts.
Thanks.
That's big fact.
Yeah, come in. Cause you know why? Cause everybody always seem like I'm up one on them. Like, if you messing up, I can talk about you messing up. But behind closed doors, I'm doing the same shit. But nobody talking about me because you can't see what I'm doing behind closed doors.
But I believe that comes from the fact that we haven't learned to control the narrative yet. And I'm talking about the narrative of us as a culture, as a people. We don't control the narrative. We don't.
I feel
We
that.
seriously have not learned to do that. So whenever you let anybody else tell your story, you already know they're never going to tell your story the way it happened.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you your story the way it's beneficial to them.
Yeah.
So we
And-
don't control the narrative. The same as in Hollywood, anywhere else. Like, I mean, we don't.
The importance of that is understanding that them controlling that narrative is how they justify so much.
Exactly.
They justify the treatment of us and the progress that we have not achieved is because of these things that they've painted as the truth. A lot of it anyway. So yeah, that's a major part of it.
I think like why is speaking intelligence still so closely associated with sounding like and talking like white? Because you talking smart, you white. Because you got an education, you white.
Well, again, that's from not controlling the narrative.
Right.
The same thing.
You know?
So, exactly. If you speak a certain way, or if you use certain words, or if you don't do anything that coincides with our traditional belief system or what you've been taught to believe, first off, let's just say this. A lot of what we believe as black people is bullshit. Like, I'm sure everybody here, y'all done seen Godfather, we all done seen Scarface, or whatever the case is. Do you know how much black people associate themselves with
With other races.
Yeah, with codes and laws that apply. They didn't even like us, dude.
Yeah.
Like they didn't.
No bullshit.
Italian people aren't really fond of black people.
Nah.
Never had that.
No.
But we use their value systems such as, realistically, and I'll tell anybody this because I'm man enough to say it. When you look at things like that we believe in our community, such as the whole, now, don't get me wrong, it's like my people are people real quick.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely not pro-snitching.
Yeah.
None of that.
Right.
But realistically, how do we justify getting mad at a person for setting you up? When the most basic of all human instincts is what? Self-preservation. So how can you get mad at a person for doing what everything in their body gonna tell them to do is protect themselves? You're supposed to be mad at yourself for putting yourself in that situation to be told on.
I speak on that a little bit though. But my whole thing is I feel like if you already know what comes with the situation, why put yourself in the situation? You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, if you knew you were gonna snitch when you get to a certain point And you feel what I'm saying? Why even put yourself in a situation if you know that's
Did you know exactly?
yeah, if you know the end result gonna be you telling, don't even put yourself in that situation.
No,
Just know what you can, you know.
I'm gonna tell you, nobody feel like I'm gonna get caught.
Of course not.
Man, you
So nobody feel like when you in the game and you doing what you doing, you don't feel like I'm getting caught. Cause when you in the game, you feel like I'm the smartest one in the game. I'm gonna be the one to get away and don't get caught.
and that's why they get caught. Though. I'm being honest, cause you always. My whole thing is with everything. Like you gotta have a backup plan. You gotta know if this fall downhill, what I'm gonna do when this fall down. You gotta already think about that before. Like that's why niggas be getting themselves into situations and don't be knowing how to get themselves out of situations. Cause you gotta already think about that before you even get yourself in the situation. Think about that before you do it. Like,
but you know how many guys around here have been in that situation, and once they got caught, they had to get a court-appointed lawyer.
Of course.
that's cause they dumb.
No, it's not because you're dumb.
Man.
It's because, hey, look,
You know what I'm saying?
look, you know what I do for a living? You know what I do for a living? Okay, so look, like I told you, look, I got 6 trades. Do you know how to change out a pump?
Nah,
Exactly. Are you dumb?
nah, hell no.
You ain't been taught.
Facts.
You're not dumb.
Yeah, facts.
You don't know a thing that you don't know.
But my whole thing is, if you know you jumping into the streets, like that's just for anybody. If you know you jumping into the streets and you doing a certain thing, put money up. You know lawyers come with that. Just like when niggas shooting each other and doing that, y'all gonna kill each other, and then you know for a fact you ain't got no money put up to go buy you a lawyer. Go this, that.
You know how common that
that.
is, though?
But that's dumb to me. To me, that's dumb. Why you gonna put yourself in a situation if you know you can't like?
That's the thing. Like that's you talking, and I'm gonna say this too. You got a daddy that you talk to.
Yeah, fact.
Exactly.
And a lot of these guys don't have daddies, and they don't have role models.
Exactly.
And the only role model they have is the dude in the street that's saying this is cool to do.
Yeah.
So that's what they
Well, then you
do.
had dudes like me. Like I said, I keep it over buck with you. You had dudes like me. Hey, when I started selling dope, I started out of pure desperation. We were dirt as poor. You understand? Like dirt poor. So we didn't have a lot. So I started to hustle. But again, there was nobody to teach me no game. I ain't had no father in the house, no father figure. Nobody taught me no game. Nobody taught me the right way to do anything. My mother did the best she could. She taught me what she knew, but she definitely couldn't teach me about being a man and being in the streets.
And that one,
That's a very common misconception, because I hear women say this a lot. I can raise a man, you can't.
No, you can't. I say
You
that.
can't.
I say, no, you
can't.
A man need a man in his
A man
life.
needs a man, exactly.
In his life.
Exactly. One of the hardest things for me to do right now as a man, and as I watch y'all too, I don't think I've ever met you.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I can tell immediately, y'all have a lot of love for each other.
Yeah, facts, facts. That's my
Comes
best
across,
friend.
comes across naturally. I can feel that naturally. So I ain't had it. So even now, biologically, I don't have any children, but even with my step children, or just males in general, it's really, really difficult for me to show love, like the way that a father would show love to his son. It's really, really hard. You understand? It's hard for me to hug. It's hard for me to kiss my son. You understand? So those types of things shape your mentality. When I actually was out in the streets and started getting money, dude, I shit you not. The last thing on my mind was money for bail. You know why? Because just like you said, I already knew I wasn't gonna get caught. I'm the smartest man in the room. I ain't gonna get caught. I didn't care what no money for bail. My money went to shoes and whatever else, because I was poor and I ain't have shit. So that's what my money went to. That's what I put it on. So me, just like those statistics, when I got locked up, court upon attorney, like really, he's already set up the railroad, as y'all already know. That's what he's gonna do. That's his job.
And be honest with you, even when you have money to pay for a lawyer, it's still the same thing as
Yeah.
they railroad you. And they using your money. They split it up between each one of them up there. They know you coming back sooner or later.
It's called a trap for a reason.
In their head.
It's called a trap for a reason.
You know what I'm saying?
Designed to fail.
Yeah.
Right off the top.
You know what I'm saying? Another question, man. The Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, how would y'all would have handled that?
So I don't like the way you worded it. But
I mean, word is your way. Word is your way. I mean, you know what?
So this is what I'm saying though.
No.
I jumped right on that one because
Yeah.
I've been quiet about that one. Like,
Yeah,
like I
word.
said, that one literally drove me off social media, right?
Yeah.
It drove me off because I think that incident encompassed so much of our culture in that one 30-second clip of what happened, right? And so the first thing I did was stepped outside of Will and Chris Rock, right? And I stepped into reality world. You know what I mean? Like, real deal, how does the world react to me doing what Will did, and what do I do if I'm Chris Rock? And I know that it goes horribly,
Of course
right?
it does.
It goes horribly. And then I got on the social media, and it was like nobody was really tracking that. Everybody took it and internalized it into what they thought it was, right? It became about protecting black women.
And all
It
these
became
other
about
things, yeah.
all of these things outside of what we know. We know that young black men are dying over dumb stuff, right? And that could have easily been one of those moments in the real world I know where Will Smith is no more. Right? Right? So the idea that I could find any room to be like, yep, I understand, it still made me feel bad, because I was like, well, if I understand that, how do I then get mad at Chris Rock if he's the person who puts that guy in a box?
Yeah.
Right? And how is one step worse than the other, right? And it just took me there to the point where I just had to step completely away, man.
That was from everybody. The whole world see this man just.
I just think about the level of restraint.
Yeah, man, right? That's what I'm saying.
Me, I'm going to jail right now. I'm telling you, I'm going to jail.
He said the realest thing though. He was like, man, I had everybody on my shoulders, and to understand that he was even put in a position where that was the case. And you know what I mean? To me, he came through in the only way he could. If he had reacted any other way, man, he would have set us back so far, bro. And that was so unfair.
How do y'all feel about Will Smith doing it though? Like, what's your take on him now?
My take is, for real though,
And that nigga angry, man.
No,
he got not for real though, bro. I feel like that nigga got tired of everybody bashing him on social media, bashing him 24/7. It was to the point where he felt like, man, this is the last job. We on the Oscars, they talking crazy. Chris Rock talking crazy.
But see, that's the thing they got.
Man, you gotta realize most people prey on people that they know ain't gonna really do nothing to them. Like he already knew if I smack Chris Rock ain't finna smack me right here. So he already knew he was gonna win in that situation. He preyed on somebody that was smaller than him because he'd seen everybody degrading him. So he was like, shit, let me get somebody else that I can do the same thing to.
Yeah, I definitely felt like there was a lot of that because it was Chris Rock. But I do also feel like though that what happened to Will though, same thing happened to any of us. Everybody has a point. Everybody has a opinion.
That's right.
And to, you know, I think it's kind of sad the way it is. I know, again, no violence and all of that, but again, certain things, you know, people react different.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, they really do. And
See, if he'd have took him,
anybody can have a bad day or off day.
he'd have took him behind stage, smacked him up, whooped him up. We wouldn't have knew nothing about it.
No.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
And he still would have been, got his Oscar. Everybody was still, whatever. But since he did it in front of everybody, then they took trying to take everything from his name.
Right.
He banned from the Oscars for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, but he's straight. We need to make our own Oscars. Enough, they got enough.
Control the narrative.
We need to
Yeah,
control
we
our
don't
own.
think like that.
Yeah, we need to do our own stuff. Like all these awards, we need to control our own and stop running to them for everything.
Because they eating off us.
Yeah,
I lie to you not. The
do
white
everything
people-
we do.
Yeah, they copy everything we do. We are really the sauce. We got the sauce. They just take the sauce and just.
You know, it's funny you said that though, because I watched a very interesting thing about that. Because look, up until about 30 days ago, I genuinely felt the same way that that's what white people did. But to some degree, of course, they naturally do. They do copy and market and sell our culture. They do. But I just want to get y'all fellas' opinion on this. So I'm sure everybody knows who Dick Gregory is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I figured you would be.
Yeah.
But with Dick Gregory, so I watched this thing when he's talking about this very thing. And it really just gave me a different perspective on it. Not saying I 100% agree with it, but it definitely gave me a different spot to think from. So, in the 1800s, and you know, up and well until like the 1940s, so it was very common. Everybody nursed from the same mother, meaning that the mammy nursed everybody's child, white, black, whoever. The mammy nursed everybody's child on the master plantation. Everybody sucked off the same jump. You know what I'm saying? So, if you think this went on for 2-3 centuries, you know, since slavery, what, 500 years roughly? So you said, you know, centuries just went on. It has to have some type of effect on that culture because as you see now, a lot of the white women, white dudes dressed like this, act like this. I'm not sure how much of that though is actually superficial and just them imitating us as much as it's a whole lot of us in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that too.
You know, I mean, this mama's milk. DNA
Yeah.
passes physically.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this. Science proves this. You know, DNA passes physically. So, like I said, if you know, if you and him grew up on the same plantation and he's white and you black, but like I said, y'all nursed the same mama for 6 months or however many long months I mean, it takes some type of effect.
Since you said I'm gonna go to this question real quick then. Why do some black men only date white women?
I can't answer that
Well,
one.
that's something I can't say.
I'm not attracted to white women. I don't date white women. Never have been white, so. You know.
That's something I really can't answer.
I mean, well, I guess I can have an opinion, but my opinion is not shaped on the idea that I can really relate. But at the same time, it does seem to follow a certain level of esteem or success, right? I mean, it's most commonly talked about on a level of
Yeah.
once a person
The
makes
brass
it-
ring.
Yeah, once a person makes it beyond a certain point, this is what they do. Yeah, I can't speak to that except for
Yeah.
maybe the idea that's a part of that diversity that you find, right? Because once you get to that place, how many black women were you likely to see in it? That's all.
And
I can
another
say
thing
about
too,
that.
some of these black dudes just be corny as hell. They can't get no black girls and shit. They
That's
gotta-
a lot of it.
They gotta mess with the white girls
You're
because
right.
these niggas be corny like.
That's a
And
lot
there's
of
some just genuinely like, because I
Yeah.
got friends that just genuinely like white women.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm just saying, ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, because if, like I said before, it's the energy. If they energy collide together, then it's good.
And we all know black women can be difficult now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Be real with it.
We know the sisters, but you know
Hey,
what I'm
but,
saying?
hey, but Danny, since you say that now, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out here now. That's why a lot of black guys date white women, because a white woman is easy in their eyes to get over on.
Yeah.
I can go do this, I can go do this, I can do this, and she not gonna say nothing. But if I'm with a black woman and I go do this, I'm fighting when I
Yeah,
get home.
no, we know how they gonna.
Yeah. You getting a tire fucked up. Something gonna happen to you. You know, just be real with it. You know what I'm saying? A white woman gonna say, "All right, baby, come on in, look. You good?" Black woman ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? It's different. All right. Why so quick to support a non-black owned business, but we hesitate? But we hesitate when there's our own black people with a business. We support somebody else's business besides ours.
I think that's a real question, and I'll tell you why. And I hate to see that narrative painted so much in our community because it's really a false narrative that makes it look like we don't support our own.
Yeah.
When in reality, that's just not the case, right? You're talking about a group of people who had hundreds of years of a jump start on us,
Yeah.
and they have the ability to offer us products and
Exactly
services
right.
at a rate that we have not had the time to catch up to, right? And at the end of the day, yes, I do want to be able to support my friend who has to sell me that product for $1 more because they don't have that backing underneath for them to be able to lower that price a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I don't always got it either. So sometimes I gotta go to Walmart, right? I can't go to my friend and think, well, yeah, son, we can't do this tomorrow because I had to buy it from here. Like when I have the ability to support those people, I will always do it. But I will not always have the ability to support them, and that's not my fault, that's not their fault, that's not a lack of support, that is reality.
No, that is. And you're right. I do think people forget about the 500-year hits. You know, generational wealth has been going on. We just started.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a difference.
Yeah.
And then another thing, like, that shit got promoted, like, way different than ours, too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, alright, Gucci and all them people, like, they stuff was promoted as the stuff up here.
Right,
So it
right.
make black people and everybody want to buy that stuff because it make them feel like they up here when they buy
Right.
that type
Well,
of
see,
stuff.
that comes
So,
from
like,
poverty.
yeah, that too.
That's where
Yeah.
that comes from. That comes from not having. Hey, look, this is something that truly bothers me, yo, is nigger rich. You understand what nigger rich is?
You actually have
You really don't have
Everybody is wrong right now, nigger rich.
That's right.
Nigger rich is what bothers me. And if you think of the most successful black people you know, and I had a real eye-opening experience the other day. So I went to this job for this lady or whatever, and this is what she told me. This her donation house. This her donation. You know what a donation house is? Seriously, I never heard of a donation house.
Nah, I don't know.
So they got 2 other houses. This house they're gonna give to charity. A donation house, dude. You know how I had to struggle to get my first house?
That's right.
This is a donation house. When you can donate a house, that's different.
That's different.
You understand? That's different.
That's a different.
We fight each other to be nigger rich. Because the truth is, I'm just gonna be real with it. The most successful black person you know right now is nigger rich, not white man wealthy. That's just the truth. Because they had generations ahead of us of building wealth. We nigger rich, but we fight amongst each other about being nigger rich. That's why we'll never get wealthy. Because we fight amongst each other about being, you know what happened to the rent party? Y'all know what the rent party was? So, in the 70s, this shit was very common to have a rent party.
Right.
I couldn't pay my rent.
On Friday.
I couldn't pay my rent. I'm struggling. All of us, we get together. We ain't have much. None of us have much. But you know what? You might throw a buck, you might throw 50 cents, you might sell cookies or whatever, and the rent got paid.
Right.
And when it was your time, we do the same for you. When it was your time, we do the same for you. But we can't do that anymore. That's the pride shit.
Yeah,
Because
right.
now we all want to be nigger rich.
Right.
You're not gonna
And
ask.
none of us got nothing.
We ain't gonna ask nobody to
No,
help
we
us.
not. We don't nobody know we broke. We don't nobody know we struggling, but we
Yeah.
all struggling.
Yeah.
Dude,
We ain't
I drive a
gonna
Cadillac.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Right.
Real shit. Everybody. You know why? And I don't mean struggling in the sense of, yeah, I can go to the bank, I can put my hands on quite a few bands. You know what I'm saying? But it's nigger rich. You understand?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
I
get
get
what
what
you're
you're
saying.
It's nigger rich.
I
I look
know you
good.
can
I look
pass
good to
down
y'all.
generations.
We look good to each other.
That's what we trying to look good
You know what I'm
for.
saying?
Each other.
For each other.
Yeah.
Exactly. But never really obtaining any type of wealth.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're more conservative and we're each other.
I'm gonna take my paycheck because it's a big party going on
Yeah,
Saturday.
I'm gonna buy
and
them
I'm gonna
shoes.
blow my whole paycheck.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Because I had to look good for that one
Exactly.
Saturday.
That's exactly what I'm
Then
doing.
I'm broke.
Yeah.
Until payday next 2 weeks.
Nigger rich. That's a nigger rich mentality. That's
Yeah.
black people's biggest problem is competing amongst each other because none of us want to think that, I'm serious, dude. And I'm so guilty of this, yo. I cannot walk out of my house if I ain't want to work, if I look in a certain way.
Right.
I don't give a damn what it costs me.
That's right.
I'm just being real about it. What about God than that? You know what I'm saying? You know how many times I done robbed Peter to St. Paul? Come on, man. Okay. Like, that's what we do.
And that's most of us, man. That's the reality of it. That's
Yeah.
most of us. Nobody want to be the person that's out here.
No,
saying
nobody
they
wants to be
wanna
the
do.
have-not anymore. That's the point, exactly.
Yeah,
Nobody
that's
wants to be the have-not. Like I said, back in the day, though, we could, realistically, we would get together and help each other.
We all understood.
We all understood
we had
was in the same struggle.
It was the
They none of us
same-
got
that's right.
nothing,
Same
and
boat.
then we all trying to get to where they at. We
Yeah.
understood that, so we worked to help each other get there. But now all that shit changed on the same time. We went from brothers and sisters to niggas and bitches. Because I don't care how you cut it, something is wrong there.
That go right back to what
Something
we were
is
saying
wrong
though,
there.
about controlling the narrative, right? Because
Exactly.
That's
That's
the
not
that's the
important.
importance of all of that and understanding all of that, right? Because at that point, we don't even control what we think winning or success
It is,
looks like.
exactly. What does it
They
mean
tell
to be
us.
successful?
They tell us
Exactly.
that.
But not just them, and I don't mean just like, I'm not gonna put that blame right on white people.
No, I'm just saying.
Black people let
whoever
other black
speaks us.
people tell them
Yeah.
what it means to be successful.
Exactly.
I know, because I'm guilty of this.
Yeah.
Black people let other black people tell them what it means to be successful. Like really, if you know a black man that got $100,000, you know a black man that got $100, what makes that one more successful than that?
Right.
Success is a mindset. It ain't no
It is.
material things.
But and we copy TV.
We do.
Like what we see on that TV and what we see on the videos, that's what we want to be. You know, that shit that rapper got in that video, he don't even own that shit.
No, I know. At least.
That's
Yeah,
at least.
brilliant.
But a lot of people think he owned that shit. That's his shit. That's his cars. That's his house.
Mhm.
All that shit leave. He gotta give all that shit back.
Yeah. You ever hear J. Cole talk about having the #1 selling album and driving the Honda at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All that shit. So we gotta look at like everything we see somebody with. It's really not there.
Not really. Exception.
Yes, not there. I mean, especially in the video. Now, Jay-Z, we know he's a fucking
Well, see, he's in the business. See, that's wealth. See,
Yeah.
he moved out of the rich stage of wealth.
You know
Yeah,
what I
he
mean?
did. You know, he bought property.
Yeah.
He do other things. Like
Yeah,
that. I mean,
but my thing with that too, my biggest thing with that, why we always get rich, then we take this shit to somewhere else. instead of bringing it back to the hood and arguing.
Because you kind of have to.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
what
like
I'm
you
about to
kinda
say.
have
So
to.
See, that's the shit.
Because otherwise you're not gonna stay much longer.
Well, not only that, it has to be productive, right? At the end of the day, if I take a bunch of people who are in poverty and I instantly bring them out of it, what have I actually accomplished? You know how fast they're gonna revert right back to everything
They
already
have to,
know?
they have to.
You know what I'm
Look,
saying?
you see on this list? That's one thing around the financial literacy.
Exactly, like.
We don't have financial
No.
literacy. We don't, most black people don't even